Hello, my name is Stephanie Boozer. I'm with CUGC HQ, and I am very happy to welcome you to today's Connect webinar with PolicyPack. We're going to have a demo and a lot of discussion about PolicyPack plus Citrix. So before we get into it, let me introduce who's on our call with us today. Keeping an eye on the question box for us is Carl Webster. He is a CTP fellow and a senior solutions architect. And he's going to watch all the questions as you type those into the question box. So please do that as you have them, and he'll find time throughout the demo and presentation to ask those. Webster, would you like to say hello to everyone?
Hey everyone, you're gonna love PolicyPack and Jeremy. So sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself and ask lots of questions.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so let me introduce our presenter, Jeremy Moskowitz. He is the founder and CTO of PolicyPack, and you can see both of the Twitter handles there where you can get more information. So Jeremy, are you ready to get us going? I'll hand you the screen.
I am ready. Can you hear me A-okay?
I sure can.
Rock and roll. Okay, yeah, pass the baton and I will do the thing. Okay, here we go. And then make sure you can see my happy smiling face. Okay, it looks like it's on. Can you guys, oh, that's the wrong thing.
Nope.
Nope. Okay, hold on. Everybody just hold on here. All right, there we go.
There we go.
All right, there we go. All right, thank you guys. I know you have busy lives and I know you have a choice when flying different airlines. I appreciate you flying Jeremy and Webster Air. This is a talk about PolicyPack. You know what's great is like there's mystery around PolicyPack. What does it do? How does it fit into the ecosystem and so on? And my job today is to demystify it, show you how this is going to be great for you as a Citrix admin or even in your non-Citrix life as well, and just smash tons of demos. Like that's my goal for today. So with that in mind, this is one of the things that we got famous for, managing and locking down all the applications you might have that are built in that you're either deploying using Citrix or putting into your image or putting into your desktops or laptops. You know, at the end of the day, users don't, you know, they will work around any configuration you have in order to circumvent your good ideas. Like that's not good. What you want to do is tie it down, lock it down, and make sure that you're in charge and not your users. You don't want applications like Firefox or Java or Acrobat Reader to pop up and ask like, oh, do you want to upgrade this application? You don't want somebody to be able to just work around your Firefox proxy setting. You want to make sure that the settings that you set are maintained and can't be worked around because again, you are in charge and not your users. I'm going to show you that first out of the bat with PolicyPack Application Settings Manager. The next thing we're going to talk about is killing local admin rights and blocking Unknownware. So nobody thinks it's a good idea to have local admin rights. And anytime a user's got local admin rights, even for like 10 seconds, that means that they could be disabling services, uninstalling software, they could be replacing parts of the operating system. And what does that mean for you? Complete and utter chaos and very insecure. So I'm going to be showing you how you can use Least Privilege Manager to elevate certain circumstances for your standard users so they can do things that are like an admin but don't really have admin rights. The second part of this is that I'm going to be blocking what I call unknownware, and that could be the bad stuff like malware or ransomware or crypto malware, that kind of thing. And I'm going to show you how to do it in one click. Yep, one click, and most of that stuff just goes right out the window. Then another one of my favorite things is blocking the right Java. Blocking, yeah, it is true. Blocking the right Java and only making Java work on the right websites, and also mapping the right website to the right browser. So we all know that certain applications and websites only render correctly and nicely in the right browser. We've all told that user for the billionth time, well, you just close out, say, Chrome and open that thing in Internet Explorer. Everybody knows by now that that application is the only one that only works in Internet Explorer. Well, you can force people based upon a URL or a pattern to guarantee and open up that browser at the right time, and I'm going to show you that. You can also do things like blocking Facebook, and you can also route to the Citrix secure browser, and I'm kind of going to go over all that when the time comes, kind of just giving you the lay of the land first. Yet another challenge, especially around Windows 10 migration and getting to the 1 yard line with a full rollout, is the file associations. It's incredibly difficult to have a perfect gold image machine export those file associations and then use the inbox group policy way to do that, because as soon as you change your mind, well, you got to do that all again. It's a huge pain in the neck. And I'm gonna show you ever so briefly how fast you can take a machine and not have to worry what's on that machine. Simply dictate, here are the exact settings for the file associations. Same thing with the start screen. Nobody wants to have all that junk that Microsoft lays down on the start screen. So I'm going to show you how you can wipe out the start screen and dictate an exacting start screen for your end users so they get exactly the applications you want. If you work at a hospital, you don't want that nurse or that doctor to have to like fumfer around to try to find the application. I went to the doctor recently, and literally on the desktop, I had seen the nurses, they have the applications for like the back doctors in the upper right hand corner, and the ankle doctors in the bottom left hand corner, and the lung doctors in the upper left. It's like that's insane. What you want to have is the start screen managing that, having icons laid out on the desktop. That's kind of a weird way to do it. That's what the start menu is for, and you want to craft the experience based upon the computer or the user, and I'll show you how to do that.
So Jeremy, that's regardless of the Windows 10 version?
Yeah, so it's that will work with I think it's either 1607 or higher, but yeah, pretty much regardless of the Windows 10 version.
So I don't have to start over every time Microsoft releases a new update for Windows 10?
No, you just make that update, and the policies of the moment, all the stuff we've talked about so far, just lay down, do the dirty work. You don't have to go back to the mat and figure it out. If you want to let Windows auto update by itself, or you want to do the Windows update for business stuff, or you want to, rejigger your VDI such that it's got the new version of the operating system, no brain power involved. You just let that user log on, and you're clear for takeoff.
Hey, that works for me. No brain power. All right.
Yeah, that's how I feel too, because life's hard enough, right? We want to make it as easy as possible. And also, like, you change your another use case for this is let's say you've got real Windows 10 machines out there and you want to advertise a Citrix published app. Well, how are you going to do that? How do you take a Citrix published app and get it right into the right Windows 10 category for that guy? No problem. You just dictate right here, Firefox on Citrix, and you can see right here, I'm running the Citrix application, and it's pointing toward Firefox over there on Citrix. I'm not doing that demo today, but this gives you an example of how you would do that. Okay, which is pretty
nice.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Here's yet another one of my favorite features: reducing group policy objects and removing loopback. Okay, let's take a big deep breath. If I were to poll all the people in the audience and I said, who has the, I call it, too many freaking GPOs problem, I bet almost everybody is going to raise their hand. And then the second question is, who here completely hates loopback and has it on in too many places? I bet the exact equal number of hands would go up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you dealt with organizations that have loopback on in too many places and can't get it handled?
Yeah, and then they'll have one policy set for replace and another policy in a lower OU set for merge, and then they got it someplace else and merge and someplace else and replace, and they got 4 different policies applying to an OU with multiple loopback settings, and you're just like, what policies are actually applying? And
Exactly.
RSOC can't even figure it out.
I call that doing the math, right? So if you're using loopback and you want to determine, did my setting make it there? Well, now you're kind of in trouble. You have to actually you have to like lay it all out on paper, chart it out. Okay, I get this one, I get this one, I get this. Oh man, I got all these settings and I didn't want to get those settings. I often see loopback being used on all computers where that's terrible news, because if you do loopback replace mode, you're actually performing 2 logons, one for the user and now one for the computer. So it actually takes you twice as long to log on. So we're going to just get out of this business in total. And what we're doing here, and I'm going to show you this as one of my last talks, one of my last demos, is inside of a group policy object that you know and love, we're going to create these little mini folders. These little mini folders are going to have an evaluation on it. So for instance, if you want to say when it's a Windows 7 machine, or when it's a Windows 10 machine, or when it's Citrix, or when it's on the sales team, you can just like use the group policy item level targeting that you might have already known and loved, and you can say, okay, well, only fire off the stuff in the folder when the user is a member of the sales team. Only fire off the stuff in this folder when I'm hitting a Citrix server. Only fire off this stuff when it's Windows 10, and so on. And these can be additive. So it can be, I'm on a Windows 10 machine and the sales team, or I'm on Citrix and I'm on the sales team, that kind of thing. So these things can be combined together to layer on top the total policy settings that you expect, which is awesome, as opposed to having too many freaking GPOs that you don't know where they're coming from and so on. This is very easy to read, very easy to maintain, and very fast to evaluate. Said another way, when you reduce your group policy objects, you increase the speed of Citrix logon times. So we can get you from the too many freaking GPOs problem, and in one GPO, have these little folders instead, and the little folders that we call collections. That is what's going to be a lot faster than having to deal with 300 GPOs. You can smash them all into a folder.
I think you meant decrease Citrix logon time, not increase Citrix logon time.
Yeah, right. I meant speed it up or decrease the time. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We want to make things faster. Yeah, we're not going the other direction. That would be.
Well, I find it puzzling that you actually use the word group policy and speed in the same sentence.
You know, here's the thing, right? I feel bad for group policy as a mechanism, right? Because he's always the guy that people dump on when things look like they're not going very well. But it's not necessarily true. The good news about this, and I teach this in my group policy training and workshop class, is that group policy has great articulation of data around it. So if things are slow and you think you have a feeling that it's group policy, no, man, you don't have any feelings because I have data, and my data trumps your feelings, right? So the idea is that I can, if I want to, guarantee and tell you exactly to the millisecond how long each of the items in group policy preferences, and PolicyPack land take to actually perform the work. You can go, oh, maybe it's a user profile problem. Maybe it's a thing I did with the logon script. Maybe it's my antivirus that's catching fire because and most antiviruses are kind of painful and stink. So there are a lot of opportunities to figure out where the bad guy is. And when people, lots of people reach out and say, Jeremy, can you take a look at my thing? When I do look at it, 8 out of 10 times, group policy is not generally the bad guy, but he's being blamed to be the bad guy. But in a couple of cases, it's the too many group policy objects problem. So how do we, like I said, because the chat between the client and the server, the discussion of how many group policy objects you have to download, that's actually longer. That's called the core part of group policy processing, as opposed to the client-side extension part of group policy processing. The core part of group policy processing, that's where you want to reduce the amount of raw GPOs. And when you do, that's going to speed up your Citrix because you have less to talk about. So you're just going to get on with business faster. That's the takeaway.
All right. Well, I'm going to put a plug in for you, Jeremy. So for the attendees, I actually attended one of Jeremy's group policy training classes. Matter of fact, it was February 2008 in Washington, D.C. And I actually have every book Jeremy has on group policy all the way up. I think your current one is like the 6th edition or something.
Yeah. On the title, it says 3rd edition because it's the 3rd edition of that revised title, but yes.
Yeah, so I've got all the books and I've been to Jeremy's class. If you really want to get into the nitty gritty of group policy, I would recommend Jeremy's group policy class. Okay, enough of that.
Back to PolicyPack. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think that class, by the way, just one more sentence on it, I think is great for any administrator that wants to be what I call a force multiplier at their company, right? So if you want to show to your boss that you can do more with less, hey man, group policy is in the box. You don't have to buy a darn thing and you're off to the races. Now, one more thing. I get this question a lot, so I got some professional friends to help. You know these guys? You know Hal and Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
2 very smart guys.
2 very smart guys, way smarter than me in this particular subject. So
smarter than me.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's the thing. We can only be experts in certain areas. We can't all be experts in every area. So I was getting this question all the time. Oh, Jeremy, I see that PolicyPack does some group policy things and preferences does some things and WEM does some things. How do we figure out what's the right tool for the right job at the right time? So the idea is that I talked to Ryan and Hal and I interviewed them and I created this white paper and it's on the website, but I'm going to make it even easier for you to get this. Instead of having to register on the website, I'm going to make this easier to get this white paper in about 3 clicks. So if this is interesting for you, if you want to understand how WEM and PolicyPack kind of can work better together, I can get you that paper in just a couple of clicks. All
Hey,
right.
we got a quick question.
Yeah, man.
So would you use Microsoft GPO in addition to PolicyPack?
Yeah.
Or does PolicyPack totally replace group
No.
policy?
Yeah, no. See, that's the thing. We hook into group policy. I'm going to show it all in the demo, and we'll go. It'll be
Okay.
very, very clear when we're in the demonstration. Yeah.
All right.
We fill in the holes in group policy where Microsoft can't or won't. Okay, that's a pretty good way to think about it.
Okay.
Customers, are you fed or state? We got you covered. Are you K-12 or higher? We got a lot of those. Are you state and local government? We love those. And are you private? We love all that stuff too. So long story short is that lots and lots of customers. We're here for you. Our biggest operation is 500,000 computers. So yeah, man, we scale. What do the experts say? I don't need to read it to you. Yeah, I think I've heard about this guy in the middle. I can't quite make him out, but I've seen this
Hey,
guy.
just a goober.
So there you go. So the idea is that the experts have spoken, and I like also what Eric has to say here. PolicyPack is possibly one of the best kept secrets of the decade. It's simply a must-have for any RDSH admin. Very generous comments from the experts in Citrix land. From an architecture perspective, you already have everything you need. You don't need any databases or SQL or schema updates, no servers to buy or build. We also have a cloud and an MDM edition that requires, that requires no infrastructure at all. You don't need any servers on site or anything. We're just ready to rock. We're gonna be focusing on the group policy edition today, but if you've got computers roaming in the field and you need to get either group policy settings or PolicyPack settings out to them out there, no problem. We've got you covered with either Cloud Edition or MDM Edition. Not today, but you're welcome to touch base about that. So like I said, if you're interested in either starting a trial or just getting that white paper, just during the event, email, or on the recording, I guess that'll work too, just email Laura@PolicyPak.com. We are a real company with real people. We're not nameless, faceless. I see on the list, we've got several customers watching right now. We love getting to know you and figuring out how we can best help you, making the software more awesome to help you every day. And to prove it, put our money where our mouth is. Here we are. There's Laura's email address. She's ready to take your email. The idea being is that we want to get to know you, get you started in a trial, and see how we can be helpful, okay? Laura@PolicyPak.com. All right, I'll put that back up when we're done. All right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. In fact, that's really a great first question is like, how do we hook into group policy? Well, this is the GPMC as you know it and love it. And all you do in PolicyPak land, you just create a group policy object like PP 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. You can create a group policy object and click edit. And here's the magic. We hook right into group policy as if Microsoft themselves had shipped it from the factory. So you can see there's the policies you know and love. There's the preferences you know and love. And we just become another item in the river, okay? Just stuff that you can do. And in PolicyPak land, everything is included. You don't buy it separately. If you just fall in love with Browser Router or something, or Least Privilege Manager, nope, you get everything. It's like a gym membership. When we come out with new fun stuff, you just get the new fun things. You don't have to like buy into it separately. So let's set the stage of the first thing that I want to talk about. Let's talk about applications and their settings and how users love to work around those settings because they're naughty and don't like you or something. So for instance, if I were to go to Firefox here and go to Tools, Options here, we all know that like we don't want Firefox to be asking for updates all the time. That's a huge pain in the neck. Nobody wants to get that pop up in their face. We also might want to set things like the home page, and we also might want to go to say settings and security and uncheck remember passwords for logons for websites. Now, some of you may know that Firefox has an ADM template, which is great, but it doesn't do everything. We do everything. And the point of the story is not just for the Firefox demo I'm going to do, but the idea is that we've extended PolicyPak to enable over 500 pre-configured apps. If they've got a template, that's great. You can definitely use that. If there's no template for it, well, that's where we come in. So I'm going to set those things up in Firefox land. The next thing I'm also going to show in the same demo is configuring Java. Java is a huge, everybody knows, pain in the neck. And what I'm going to show you here is how to well, nobody likes to see the update tab because then Java's asking for updates. And honestly, Carl, do you know about the new problem in Java land where as soon as you upgrade your machine now to the latest version of Java, you're putting your company at risk because Oracle will then come after you for $30 per computer per year?
Yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so we're going to be able to help you sidestep that issue. I'm going to explain how we're going to get out of that business a little bit later. But the first thing is actually configuring, say, the security settings and some of the advanced settings here. So like you might have some important security settings. So the very first thing I'm going to do here is in this group policy, actually this is on the user side. I want to do this on the computer side. So I'm going to say for all of my PPAM demo 1, for all of my computers, okay, I'm going to manage Firefox and Java on the computer side. And I'll do that in the same group policy object. So right here, here's PolicyPack, Application Settings Manager, right-click New Application. And I've got my handy dandy pre-configured ones right here, and you can just slide them in and they're easy enough to do. The idea is we can get to just about every application and almost every setting in applications. So in Firefox land, if the first thing I want to do is set the home page to, let's see, what's your website again? accidentalcitrixadmin.com, or what's the easiest way?
Nope, carlwebster.com.
carlwebster.com. Let's do that. Great. And in carlwebster.com, you know what? This is a very important homepage for your organization. You want to lock this down so users can't be naughty and work around it, right?
That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure, because you're naughty and you would work around it. and you want to make it so that it's never checking for updates. And then also for security, you want to uncheck remember password for sites and lock it down. So I'm just doing three little base hits to kind of get us started. Then for Java, okay, for Java here, what am I going to do here? Like I said, the most important thing is to not get stuck with updates. So this is kind of a two-part thing. First thing, we're going to say no checking for updates. In security, maybe we want to make it very high and lock it down. And you know this Java site exceptions list where users can just say, nope, I'm in charge, and users kind of work around your rules? Well, that's not a good idea. So what we can say here is get rid of all that junk that users think they know what they're doing and put on my site exceptions list, the ones that we vetted at the company. And while we're here, lock it down so users can't be naughty and work around it. Okay, so we're going to force that on top of users. And then the last thing I want to do, let's see if I can find it. Where the heck is this thing? It's under advanced. Can never find this thing that I'm looking. There we go. What's the most secure one nowadays? Is it TLS 1.2? Is that the guy that everybody's talking about? TLS 1.2, I think so. So we'll lock that down, and we'll go ahead and uncheck these other checkboxes so that we can't be naughty using the wrong protocols on the network. Okay, so we're doing all those Java things and locking it down. Now again, of course, I'm using a real VM here. This could be a Citrix desktop, it could be a VDI, it can be a real machine, it can be a laptop, it could be, does it run Windows? Then it will work with our stuff, okay? It's as simple as that. So now that that's done, you can see, so going back to that guy's question of, hey, are we really group policy? Yes, we are really group policy. We really hook into it. So if we go now to Firefox land, take a look and see what's what here. The first thing that it's going to do, provided we have internet access and all is well over there, is boom, going to carlwebster.com. Let's see if it all worked out. There we go. Look at that. What a handsome devil. All right, now if we go to tools options over here, what we'll see is we've got, hey, the home page is there. It's locked down. We said that the updates are never checking, and we said the privacy and security don't remember logons and password for websites. So we achieved that goal. Actually, I'll leave this up here for a second. The second thing we decided we wanted to do was go to configure Java. And remember, we had that updates tab. Let's take a look and see if that's been eradicated. Yep, sure enough, the updates tab is now gone. If we go to security, we see it's set to very high. We've got the site exceptions list, and this is Webster being naughty and trying to work around my settings. Sorry, buddy, can't do that. I'm in charge, not you in this case. You're usually in charge, but not here. And then if I were to go down to those security settings, bang, 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 I've unchecked all those insecure settings and checked the secure setting and locked it down so users can't be naughty and work around it. Have you seen organizations that are trying to, do everything they can to be more secure, but forget some of these little sidestep things?
Oh, yeah.
And it just takes one. It just takes one guy to blow it, right? And it's like, you are the security bastion of hope at your company. It's really, you're the one in charge, not your users. Don't leave settings up to the end user. What's the chances they're going to get it right? I'm going to call it none percent. Okay, so then that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is, we'll get back to browsers a little bit later. The second thing I want to talk about is yet another security concern, which is getting out of the local admin rights business. I mean, here's the thing. Windows' job is to run applications, but if you have an application built in 2002 and you're still using it, it might throw a UAC prompt like this application. Or you might have a guy that's running with standard user rights and needs to get into something like Device Manager, but he's told, oh man, hey, you're a standard user, you can't update your device driver, you can't make any changes. Sorry, but what are you gonna do? Or you've got a guy who wants to install something like Skype, perfectly normal application, you're okay with it, but what happens when he tries to install it? Well, it's going to be blocked by UAC, right? So how can we transition a company or an individual person that had admin rights yesterday into a stance where he doesn't have admin rights today, but give them the opportunities to perform work that they may need to do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this group policy object to PPLPM demo 123. All right, so now I'm talking about PolicyPak Leased Privilege Manager. So Leased Privilege Manager's job is to elevate the opportunities for a standard user to do admin-like things, but not giving them full admin rights. And I'm going to show you how it works, and it's pretty easy to understand. What you're going to do is you're going to create rules for the opportunities they need. So the first one I'm going to do is a new executable policy, and I'll use simple rule, and I'm going to say, hey, look, if I touch a file that is the same as that procmon I want to use over there, I'm going to get a hash value. And when I see that puppy, I want to run it with elevated privileges. And I'm going to show you what that means when I say elevated privileges in a little bit. If I want to make a control panel applet here, and I go to take a look at my list, on my list, hey, there it is, Device Manager. So I'll click on Device Manager, run that with elevated privileges, and we're ready to rock. And then the third one, well, this one, hold on, let's take a deep breath for a quick second. Let's think about that third one. That third one was Skype installer.msi. Now, we don't want Skype itself to run as an admin. That's too much power. What we just want is a Skype installer. So we know that's a Windows installer policy. But then we don't want to just give it a name like Skype installer.msi, because if the bad guys run that, then they're running with admin rights. So we don't want that. So we'll use a combo rule to dictate that the signature, so signed by the Skype guys, and then the inner guts that's also signed, we're going to use. So 2 factors of authentication for this Skype application. There's the inside story, and then the product info underneath the hood will be higher than or equals that number. So there we go. So we're going to elevate the installer, but not the application itself. And just like that, now what we get out of this is 10 seconds ago, you saw that procmon would throw a UAC prompt. We saw that Skype installer wouldn't run, and we saw that Device Manager wasn't playing ball with us. What are you seeing out there? Are you seeing people still running with local admin rights? I know I am.
Oh yeah.
And this
I
is
can't
like,
believe it.
but I can believe it. I feel bad for these organizations because they know, like I had a guy tell me when I was going over this demo with somebody, he's like, Jeremy, look, I'm not an idiot, he said. And I know he wasn't accusing me of calling him an idiot. He was like, I know I'm not an idiot. We just have to. We just don't have a way to overcome this problem. I don't want to be this guy. Like, I feel bad. So in that way, we can help you get out of this problem. Bang, there's procmon running. And if we take a look at Device Manager, bang, no more prompt for Device Manager. That's going to go ahead and run with admin rights now, where you can update your device drivers if you need to now. And Skype install, let's go ahead and do that guy last here. And so go ahead and do Skype install. Before we got a UAC prompt in our face. This time, bang, bang, bang. Right there, install, we had the UAC prompt, and now it sails through. Now you may be wondering, what is the magical superpower that's actually making this go? Well, there's a facet where you can do what's called a token change, and we're doing it programmatically. And you can see this in Windows. Let me show you where this thing lives in Windows land. I just want to wait for this thing to finish first. There we go, and done. All right, so I'm going to leave Process Monitor going here, and I'm going to hit Control-Delete and go to Task Manager. And in Task Manager here, if I go to, we don't need Skype, we're done with you, buddy. All right, if we go to Task Manager and we go to Options here, and we take a look at our details here. Actually, Process Monitor itself is slowing me down, so we don't want that. All right, and you can right-click on one of these tabs, and you can do a show or hide column here. Let's see, where is that guy? Select columns, there we go. And the thing I'm after is this thing called elevated. elevated. Well, if we take a look at now elevated and look at the apps that are elevated, there it is. Look, Procmon, it's elevated. The rest of the stuff, not elevated. Okay. So the idea here is that, of course, you want to use it in the right way. You don't want to like just give everybody everything elevated, because that's like running with admin rights. You want to find the opportunities that they need and elevate applications and scenarios they need without running with the scissors all the time.
So how many thousands of dollars is this add-on to the product?
Right. So you think we should just like make it like just a blank check, and they should just have to fill it out for how much money they save? I think that's a good idea. We should go with that model.
So in other words, I don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on another vendor's product just to handle this one aspect.
Problem. That's right. Yes, exactly right. So in PolicyPack land, everything is included. All the stuff I just showed you before and all the stuff I'm going to show you afterward. You're right. There are opportunities to buy products that do just this one thing. They're great. And if you want to buy that one thing, you could totally do that. But on the other hand, if you're looking for a suite of stuff that's going to like make you a better Citrix admin and a better VDI admin and a better Windows 10 admin all around, well, we hit the sweet spot, we hope. Because we give you all these things, and we do just about everything those big guys can do too.
Yeah, and their product cost for just handling privilege management, user privilege management, costs more than PolicyPack and everything that it contains.
Yep, it certainly does. So, like I said, we're a real company with real people. We try to keep our prices in a sweet spot to make everybody happy. How about this? You have people who admins out there who like think all this crap on the start menu is like maybe not a good idea?
About 100% of them.
About 100%, I agree. So let's go a little bit slower on this one. Would it be interesting to be able to block all of these cockamamie apps that are here on the start menu, but maybe whitelist and approve some apps like apps that are by, I don't know, a company like Adobe, and let people go to the store and only download stuff from the store from sanctioned companies? Okay, that's what I'm about to show. You think that would be interesting to see?
That would be cool.
So we've got what's called a new universal Windows policy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a block. So I'm going to say if it's a Microsoft Store app, then just instantly deny it and put the smackdown on it. So we're just denying all store apps. But I'm also, at the same time, I want to open up two things. I want to open up the store itself. I can't remember the actual package name of the store, so I'm just going to give it by name here. That's good enough. So I'm going to let the store through, and I'm also going to let it through if it is either signed by Adobe or maybe has Adobe in the name. So I'm going to go ahead and do that same thing here. So if I were to call it star Adobe star here, same basic gist. I want to allow and log it. So in order, we're going to deny everything in the store, but allow the store, and then only allow Adobe things. So all this garbage apps that, whoops, get rid of all that here. All those garbage apps that are hanging out on the start menu, we're going to do two things to them. On the one hand, we can't get rid of it on the left-hand side. We can get rid of it on the right-hand side. But if it's even just hanging out here on the right-hand side, again, what we want to do, our first inclination, stuff that would run, we just want to make it all blocked and stop. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we click on, say, weather. What happens now? That's blocked. If we go ahead and try to click on something like, I don't know, Power BI, what happens there? Oh, that's blocked. Well, what we did say, two things were valid. We did say that the Windows Store is valid. That's cool. So now we can download stuff from Adobe. And if we try to download other things like this race car game or anything else, that's not going to work. It'll let you download, but it won't let you install. It won't let you perform the actual operation. But Adobe stuff, if you download whoop, did I get that wrong? Let's fix that. What did I do wrong here? Name, oh, I have two things in there. I did have it wrong, name and signature. Let's fix that. Name and any, there we go. Okay. Let's try that again. All right, so the basic gist is that you want to block all the apps, but allow the applications that you sanction, okay? So if all goes well, now, there we go. That's what we wanted to see. I must have clicked the down arrow or something. So the point of the story is you're now blocking all this crap that could possibly be on the machine instantly with one click just like that, and you're ready to go. Do you think that would be useful for VDI, Citrix, and even non-Citrix rollouts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Any of the remote desktop or virtual desktop vendor products out there, this would definitely be beneficial for.
Awesome. Well, then let's continue down the road here. I mean, like all this stuff, we know this stuff you installed, right? We already saw Firefox, that's running, that's all cool. But you don't know if a user double clicks on something that they download from the internet, what the security and safety of that is. Like, is ransomware simulator a ransomware simulator, or is it really ransomware? Is a script here that, or a Java application that they can click on? Who knows? We got all sorts of bad stuff here. How do we prevent users from running the bad stuff, but keeping them running the good stuff? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that in about one click, and I promise to explain how it works second. We call this secure run policy here. So I'm going to go ahead and enable secure run policy, and I'll explain how it works in a second. Let me go back over here and run GP update here. All right. And remember, the lash up is all this stuff you install properly because you're the admin. Either you bake it into the image, or you deploy using SCCM, or you're deploying using Citrix or some sanctioned method. And this is junk off the internet. You have no idea what its provenance is, okay? So like by way of example, if I go ahead and double click Chrome, that's gonna work out just fine. It launches and we're good. Chrome is happy as Chrome can be anyway. And then if we take a look at something like Notepad P, what happens now? Oh, bang, that's stopped in its tracks. The scripts, all the scripts that could have been malware before, what happens now? Oh, bang, they're stopped in their tracks. Ransomware simulator, we don't know what the story is here. And of course, that's gonna be bang, stopped in this. What? How do we know instantly all the crap that the user has versus what you have? Well, it's actually a pretty easy magic trick. If you take a look at the properties and go to security here and you go to advanced, what you can see is that you are the owner. You're the guy that did the installation. And if you take a look at what's happening when the user downloads something off the internet and goes ahead and tries to run it, or it tries to install it, aha, they're the owner. So the magic in secure run is that there's a list. The last mile, the last millimeter, the very last thing that happens before that process is executed is we see who's on the list. Oh, the user's not on the list. They can't execute the program. The end. Okay, just like that. This gets you into very cool scenarios like teacher and student, where the teacher can have the operation to download a software from the internet, install it with one of these rules, and it's good and situated on the machine. Then the student logs onto the machine and he can only run the stuff that the teacher put there, but the student, if they try to download crap off the internet, that's not gonna work. That is instantly blocked. So based upon that, do you think that would also be useful for people to get behind?
Oh yeah, because there are a lot of schools that use virtual desktops, you know, and RDSH type servers. So yeah.
Well, before we come off of least privilege, do we have any questions in the queue about least privilege?
No.
Okay, well, we can certainly do more on that if people have it later, but I'm gonna get rid of that group policy object just so it doesn't get in the way of other things we're gonna do a little later. Okay, great. So with all of that, that gives you the opportunity to get out of the local admin rights business, elevate opportunities as you need to, and be on the road to do all the right things. Okay, next up on the docket is the right browser and the right Java for the right website. So here we go. Here's Carl Webster. Look, it looks great in Firefox. Good job, man. You have like a web design background, or did you just like clobber this together yourself? Oh, did I lose you?
My son did it.
Oh, he did the website. It looks pretty good, man. And that's the thing.
I'm colorblind. You don't want me doing a website.
There you go. But we know that certain websites look right in the right browser, but other websites look terrible in the wrong browser. So for instance, let's pretend you're in Firefox and you know that PolicyPack.com only looks good in Internet Explorer. Look what we did. We close the wrong browser and open up the right browser at the right time, making sure that your user for the billionth time doesn't have to be told, oh, close that website, close that browser, go to this browser. Same thing, if you're going to G Suite or doing things like that, you might want to make it so that every time you go to Google or anything like that, bang, wrong browser close, right browser open, and you're off to the races just like that. Have you seen situations that might call for this?
Oh yeah, lots of old crappy apps that still have ActiveX controls that must run in IE, and then some that have Chrome extensions that must run in Chrome,
Exactly.
and some that do a lot of REST API stuff that must run in Firefox with Firefox REST 8 API extension. Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So it's just the right browser for the right website at the right time. It's as simple as creating a new policy here. And if we wanted to do Webster rule 123, and we want to make a wildcard for star Webster or whatever it is, anytime you hit anything with the word Webster in it, we're going to open that puppy up in Chrome. That's fine. Or if you have a particular URL like www.microsoft.com, you want to open that up expressly in Internet Explorer, you can do that. And I don't know if you see this out there a lot. I do. This idea of Internet Explorer and it's also its document modes where Internet
Yeah.
Explorer will render the right thing at the right time. And there's one admin who's sort of in charge of that. If he goes on vacation, the whole thing falls apart. Well, here you can just say, look, if I'm in the wrong browser and I want to go to this website, great. Pop open Internet Explorer, set it to the right document mode, and go get a beer. It's just that simple. It really, really is. What do you think of that?
Yep. And then also you got the don't edit this group policy on this computer because it has the wrong version of IE on it. You must edit this group policy on this version or this computer because it has the right version of IE on it.
Yeah, not just, you're right. There's also that thing called the Internet Explorer site list that has different schema versions, and we're always making sure that we put the right one down based on the right version of Internet Explorer. So we're on top of that, so you don't have to be. Oh, also block Facebook. How's that for a little bit of an idea? So if you're over here and you decide you want to look for things about Facebook here, and then you decide you want to click on Facebook, well, what happens? You get, no Facebook for users. So, it's good, of course, to have those big firewall style systems that are going to do all the heavy lifting to do that real stuff. But it's great in a pinch to be able to block websites that are being naughty from a policy level such that you can't get to it from your browsers, just like that. All right. All right. Well, let's also, while we're here, let's also talk about that Java problem, which I also call the right Java for the right website. So if I take a look here, I've got java.com, and if I go to java.com and say, do I have Java? What does it say? It says, oh, hey man, you're out of date. I bet you want to update and have to pay $30 per user per computer. No, that's not really very nice. Thanks for asking. But that's problem number one. Problem number two is that your websites will only see the latest version of Java you have on your machine. You might have an application like a time card app or a phone app. There's a Cisco apps, all these applications that will only run in Java with the right freaking version of Java. So on my machine here, if I go to Control Panel and I take a look and I go to what versions of Java do I have? I've got 8.25, I'm gonna write that down, 8.25, and I've got 7.51 on this machine as well, not to mention the oldest version, or latest version rather. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna marry the right version of Java to the right websites. How do I do that? Well, couldn't be easier. I'll do it in the same GPO, there's no downside to doing that. So here in Java Rules Manager, I'm gonna add a new default policy. Actually is pretty nifty, because if you want to, you can block every website that has Java. No more Java unless you call IT. They'll get a pop-up if they go to websites that are not on this express list, okay? And that would give you the opportunity to vet that website to make sure it's kosher. But I'm gonna create a new policy here. I'll call this rule 1 for java.com, and I'll do https://java.com and run. And I said I want to specify a very particular version, 8, and you just pick it right off the list. Man, no brain power involved is the way to go. Your life is too complicated. You do not want to have to do all the thinking. So if we do rule 2 javatester.org, doesn't matter what that's called up there, https javatester.org, and I want to run this with an even older version like 751 here, 751. There we go, even older version right there. Bang, zoom, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Now, the thing is that Java has this built into its brain. This is called Java Enterprise Deployment Rule Sets. And the guy that did the work, the internals work here and at Oracle, he's now on my team, okay? And when he saw this the first time, he fell over backward in his chair. He's like, oh man, this is exactly how we should have done it the whole time. So in fact, if you go to Java here and you go to Configure Java, you'll see it if you click on Security, Active Deployment Rule Set, and we're setting this. If you've ever tried to do this against an organization, I have found none % of organizations have gotten this to work perfectly. And we do it in just a few clicks. And so if we go back to Internet Explorer here, and we go back to java.com, and now if we say, do we have Java, verify the Java version, we're not fooling the operating system into thinking a version of Java is there or isn't there. We're actually teaching Java the right way, and that's important. That's an important step, because notice there were no pop-ups, there was no tomfoolery. We're actually doing the way that Java wants to be told how to do it, and that's very important. So here you go, you can see version 8.25 there, and if I were to go to Java version and Java tester land, what do we get here? Actually, this is a different thing, so it shows it to you. There it is, 751. So we're the right browser and the right Java for the right website. Not to mention, once you know which websites use the right version of Java, you're able to sidestep those versions of Java so that you can lock it down, use the latest version of Java for websites you've never seen before, and tie it down to earlier versions such that you are sidestepping the per computer cost. You seeing that out there too?
Yes.
And I think
Java has just been an absolute pain in the rear for years for Citrix admins, especially if you're in the medical profession.
Well, I've seen people spin up their own freaking entire Citrix box just so they can have a browser with the right version of Java on it.
Yep.
Is that a good use of resources for that Citrix admin or that organization?
No.
So having it, associated this way and have one box that is able to do multiple things, probably a better idea?
Yep.
Better resources. Okay, just making sure I got it straight.
More cost effective.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to my last couple things because I don't want to run out of time. So everybody loves that when you click on a PDF, Edge opens. You love that, right? Edge? You don't love that? Oh, nobody loves that. Okay. And you love it that when you click on video files, this Windows internal movie player thing runs. You love that, right? No, you don't like that. Okay, wait, no, well, let me get this straight. You love it that when you click on a mail to link in your application, you love it that it opens up Windows crappy mail instead of like your Outlook. You love that, right? Okay, so long story short, you hate that stuff. You want that to go buried to the bottom of the ocean. And if you change your mind, you don't want to have to figure this all out yet another time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can use PolicyPack File Associations Manager, PPFAM Demo 1. All right, right here. All right, and what I'm going to do is go on the computer side, go to PolicyPack land, go to File Associations Manager here. Right click, add. Now you could do a one-off policy. You could say like PDF rule, and for file type do PDF, and pick a program on my machine that knows how to do that. That would be this guy. That's fine, you could do that. But actually Acrobat Reader is more than that. So we can do what's called an interrogation. We can interrogate Acrobat Reader and get, put it up against the wall and say, tell me everything you know, spill your guts, sir. And bang, right there, we can get all the file types just like that. We put it in a little bucket for you, and that little bucket is ready to rock for your target machines. And what's that I hear you cry? If you have Acrobat Reader and Writer, what are you going to do? No problem. You create another bucket. That little bucket is Adobe Writer policies. And what you're going to do is use the famous item level targeting and say, hey man, only do that thing when I can see I've got a file match on Adobe Writer. So start off doing my Adobe Reader stuff. That's fine. But when I have Adobe Writer, do this other stuff. I'm not going to show that now, but I'm sure you probably come across that as well. And
all the time.
All the time. That's the idea. We want to solve problems that you're seeing all the time. Let's get Vlc Media Player with its 150 things right there. Bang, bang, bang. Next, next, next. So there we go. Put Vlc Media Player's file associations in a little bucket. Okay, this used to be much easier in Windows 7, and then you guys can look it up. We've got a blog entry on it. Maybe I'll have somebody on my team blog about it. But the idea is that there used to be this thing called clickjacking. We've got a whole blog article about this, about how Windows 7, where grandma would download what she thought was Acrobat Reader and it would take over her file associations. We don't want that. So not just we don't want that, it's just not part of the physics that are in Windows 10 anymore. So as such, you need a programmatic way to dictate those things, and this is a way to do it. So I'll do one more. I'll do mail to, that's a network protocol. We'll do mail to here. Now I don't have Outlook, I've got something else. I'm gonna use this thing called Clause Mail. It's just like my Outlook equivalent. All right, so there we go. So I've got it all set, I'm ready to rock. I'm gonna run GP update here. This is one of those things that you will not see take effect until the next time you you log on. It's just the physics that we're given in the box. So in order to see this, I got to wait for group policy to apply. I'm going to just double make sure I got this policy with a GP result /R. Okay, just making sure I got the policy. Then I'm going to log off and log back on, and then we should see it take effect. So we'll run GP result /R as a little quick check before we log off here. So on the computer side, did I get the, yep, file associations manager. Okay, I feel pretty confident. So let's go ahead and sign out. Okay, oh, of course, Windows wants to update. If only I could just permanently stop updates, that would be the best, but I can't do that, so. All right, so we'll log back on as East Sales User 1. And if the icons don't change right away, that's just part of the physics for how this works programmatically. So if you don't see the icon change, it might change while I'm talking, which is kind of nifty. So focus on the, oh, it did do it right there. So you can see the icon has changed to Acrobat Reader. Let's go ahead and double click on it. Bang, Adobe Reader, that's great. Go ahead and let that finish. Here we go, our document is, maybe I don't really care if it actually runs or not. So go ahead and quit that guy, there we go. How about Vlc Media Player for our media player? As we can see, Vlc Media Player comes up. That's fantastic, excellent. And then lastly, our mail to, go ahead and click that guy. And instead of having Windows Crazy Mail come up, we get the mailer of our choice, which is typically Outlook, but in my case, I'm using Claus Mail. So what do you think of all that? Does that seem like that's gonna be handy dandy for your peoples?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
That's a big one. I mean, we're seeing that people are blocked in Windows 10 rollouts because they're trying to figure out how to do this by going into the image and crafting it and making it such that it's the perfect thing and we're never going to change. It doesn't really work that way. Everything we're doing here, again, you want to have your Windows image be as naked as possible and then layer on the settings of the moment, That's kind of what we're doing the entire time here. So last but not least, I think we should crush the start menu. I think all the stuff in the start menu, not good for our doctors, not good for our teachers, not good for our students, not good for our nurses. Let's just crush the crap out of the start menu and put on the applications we want them to. I don't want them to have to paw through this giant list of junk. I don't want it whenever I use SCCM or Citrix to advertise an application, it just shows up here on the left. I want to chuck the right things at the right time on the right side in little groups that make sense for my business, okay? And that's called PolicyPack Start Screen and Taskbar Manager. So if I go to my East Sales users and go to PPSSM demo 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, right click and click edit here. You can do this either on the user or the computer side. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to do it on the user side here. Okay, and then for here, I'm going to do my Start Screen Manager for Windows 10. Now there's two different methods to use this. One method is called partial preserve. This means leave the garbage the user or Microsoft has put in place and then put my groups in, and my groups, they cannot change. This means full replace means nuke that off the map, put only my stuff on. I don't care what they have, just get rid of it and put my stuff on. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to create my collection in full replace mode, and I'm going to now add my group or groups. You can call these Citrix apps or my apps or my browsers, my EMR apps. This is the actual grouping of stuff that you would see on the start menu. So here's my apps, and maybe I'll just do some simple stuff. I'll go to, I'll make a desktop application here, and I'm going to put on, say, Acrobat Reader. So there's Acrobat Reader, bang. I'll make it a medium tile, and you can describe where you want it in the group, just like that. You have a position. I'll make another one here. Maybe I'll add, say, maybe a browser like Firefox. There's Firefox. Go ahead, add that guy. Make that a medium tile. And then while I'm here also, I will add a new, say, Windows Universal guy as well, which is like one of those big style applications, like Calculator that would have been impossible to put on otherwise. So there we go, make that large. Now you could also say, hey man, don't put this group on at all until I know I have these applications, and you would do that with item level targeting. So the idea is that you can say only put on this collection, say when I'm a doctor, when I'm a nurse, when I'm a teacher, when I'm a student, or when I see the applications, or when I'm on a laptop, or when my operating system matches a particular version of Windows 10, any number of things. In other words, again, crafting the right experience for the right people at the right time. That is the name of the game. It's impossible to have it right the first time. Don't think that way. Think in terms of you're going to be constantly moving the ball down the field, always getting little base hits. You know, trying to go about it and take a big swing, try to do a grand slam for your Windows 10 rollout and trying to keep it updated. It's like nearly impossible. Settings of the moment, man, that is where it's at. So with that in mind, what do we get when the time it's over? Bang, here are the applications beautifully laid out right there. We nuked all that junk off the map. If we want to go ahead and click on Acrobat Reader this time and let that thing fly, there we go. We're off to the races, and you've crafted the start menu for your users based upon the story that they have. You could have this version, this group when it's sales team on their laptops, or when they're on a server 2019 box or whatever it is. You are in charge. So any questions about that, or feelings or
Yes.
thoughts about that? Go ahead.
Yes. What if the organization's already using another product like Avante for these settings? What's the benefit of using PolicyPack?
Well, you probably wouldn't want to put two raccoons in a bag and have them fight, right? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So
yep. But I mean, PolicyPack has so many other things. You don't have to use just this one thing.
Yes, and we do have customers that are using other products for some areas and using us for other areas. But there is, I would definitely articulate in the same way you wouldn't want to put two antiviruses on a machine. You probably wouldn't want to put two applications on the machine that were trying to control the exact same, part of the world as well. Make sense?
Yep, makes sense to me.
Okay, and then lastly, not really a full demo. I just sort of want to talk about the idea of getting out of the too many freaking GPOs business. So this is we're going to slow down a little bit, and then this will be the last thing I think we do. So here I've got all these group policy objects, which is kind of a shame. Wouldn't it be great if I could compress them into one group policy object? I like to call this a big old GPO with brains. So whoops, it's funny, I already have that. I like that name so much, I've used it before. So there we go. So I'll create this group policy object here. And instead of having like one GPO that hits the sales guys, one GPO that hits the Windows 10 machines, 4 GPOs that hit the Windows 7 machines, 3 GPOs that hit the whatever, you can actually have less GPOs that do the same work. So here in Admin Template Manager, we get to the exact same items that you can get to here under Microsoft's admin templates, except we put the superpower on it. So the collection might be when machines are Windows 10, put that little folder down, and you can say, do the stuff in this folder when the machine is, say, a operating system. There we go. Operating system is Windows 10, and bang. And we'll create another one just for fun. New collection when the dude is coming in over RDS session. How do we know that? Well, that's item level targeting, and when it's called a terminal session is any, bang, bang. So now, instead of having group policy objects for your Windows 10 rollout and group policy objects for your Citrix rollout and group policy objects for when the sales team, and you can say when the item level targeting is for the security group of my East sales team guys, okay? Instead of having different group policy objects for each of these things, you have these folders, less GPOs. So if we're coming in over RDSH, and when we come in over RDSH, what you want to do is just kill the control panel. Great, prohibit access to the control panel. It's the same exact stuff you can do in Microsoft because we're pulling that from the central store. We're not recreating the wheel here. We're actually using what you're already using. So no infrastructure, no architecture. Just go ahead and use what you're already using. You click enabled, and bang, you're now doing this policy setting only when the dude is coming in over RDSH session, just like that. Less freaking GPOs. If you already have 200 or 300 or 400 GPOs, I don't have time for it today, but we have a little converter utility that will let you read your existing group policy settings that have admin template stuff in it and let you shove it into one of these folders, and you can decommission those old group policy objects. We had one customer who had 700 GPOs. They got down to 50.
Wow, nice.
Yep.
Hey, we do have a question. If they use Microsoft Intune, how does PolicyPack handle Intune enrolled Windows 10 devices?
perfectly. We have got 2 white papers that explain that in excruciating detail. But let me give you the quick 411 on that. The idea is that you take the settings that you've created, everything I've shown you right here, you can export as XML. You can do that for anything, browser router, least privilege manager, start screen. You can do that for all the things. Once you have them in that capacity, they're just loose XML files. We have a little program that's called the PolicyPack exporter utility that we give you here, PolicyPack exporter tool, and its job is to round up these loose these loose XML files. I have this demo already kind of ready to go here. We take these loose group policy preferences, and PolicyPack items, okay? And then you can take them, make them into an MSI, and it works freaking great. So you just take it, you export for MDM, and you're using your MDM, whatever MDM you use, you're off to the races. You can use AirWatch, Mobile Iron, Zen Mobile, whatever you want, and you can get those settings out there. Any setting you want, all policies, all preferences, all PolicyPack, just like that.
Okay, I sent them a link. I answered with a link from an article on your site, PolicyPack and Microsoft Intune.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from the
Well, there's a question
friends?
back on the least privilege. Is there a way to do admin approvals in real time with the least privilege tool?
There is a way to do admin approvals in real time. I'm so glad you asked. I should tip that guy. I have this demo pre-staged and ready to go. But there's a lot of clicks to kind of get it set up. So I've already got it pre-staged in a group policy object. So I'll just go ahead and show that real fast. So if I run GP update here, okay. So now what's happening, now that I flip on what's called admin approval, what happens is, you didn't think about a rule that somebody needed. What are you gonna do? No problem. The guy is gonna get prompted for how to install that thing, and you're going to get a challenge code from him and give him a response code back. So let me just show you how this works real quick. Let's see if that thing, here we go. So if I click on PowerPoint Viewer, I didn't have a rule for PowerPoint Viewer. So what do we get? You can see, please call the help desk at this phone number, or if if that guy was an admin, he could throw his own admin credentials in here. But instead, what you're gonna do is your user is going to read off that request code. And I've got the program on my computer called, whoops, that's wrong. So go over here, go to the PolicyPack admin approval tool, and there's a shared secret between you and the person. So if I go to, whoops, got to put the password in right. Okay, that's just saved there. All right, so I'm going to paste in that request code, and out comes a response code. And you can pop in the reason that because this is an installation, and you can say you use it once or it never expires, and how does it expire, in 10 minutes or an hour, whatever. And if you change this, if you make it say it expires in, say, an hour, boom, you see the code changes. So go ahead and read that code back to the user over the phone or in email or whatever it is. They paste it back in, okay? They click OK, and they're off to the races installing their application. You didn't have to have that rule pre-thought of. It's just ready to rock, just like that.
Nice. All right, we have another question. I'm an MSP. What PolicyPack product is best for me?
Okay, MSPs, we got you covered. We have this thing called the PolicyPack Cloud. So PolicyPack Cloud lets you do all the stuff we just did on-prem, but you use our PolicyPack Cloud service where you buy a gaggle of licenses that you can use across all your customers. What's that? You got 30 architects over there, and you got 20 nurses and a handful of podiatrists, whatever. You buy a pool of licenses and you just apportion them as you see fit, creating a policy that might work across all of them if you want to, or specific for some customers if that's what you want to do as well. We have that exactly built for you.
All right, I found the link to your cloud edition on the PolicyPack website and put that in the answer window.
Thank you. Well, I think we might be over time, but I'm so happy that people are staying on. I'll stay on as long as we want, but I just want to make sure that we're being cognizant for all of our sakes.
Yeah, we've answered all the questions that have been asked at this time.
Oh, let me put back on Laura's email address up here, so that way if somebody wants to start
the chat window.
Oh, you put it in the chat window?
Put it in the chat window, email and phone number.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's great. So yeah, Laura at PolicyPack.com. If you want the WEM white paper, you want to start a trial, you might want to get pricing, you want to kick it off. If you've got questions for me, start off with Laura, and I'll make sure I promise to answer any question if you have any. Of course, I'm here at your service.
Oh, now someone did ask a question and I answered it that they came with the product, but so the question was, so was the Java and Firefox templates pre-added or we need to create them? And I
Ah,
said they came with the product.
they come with the product. So the idea is that we have these pre-configured packs that you just put in the central store. In the same way we've got policy definitions for Microsoft, we have a folder called PolicyPack for our stuff. This is only for application settings, and we've got all the things you'd want to do. You just drag and drop them in here, and bang, you're off to the races. What's that? You've got a custom application we've never heard of before? No problem. We have this thing called the Design Studio that lets you create your own packs such that you are not waiting for us to like handcraft your own thing. But if you find an app that we don't have that like would be good for the greater good, yeah, man, we'll build it. So if there's some application, somebody came to us recently, I can't remember, it was like some kind of like a GoToWebinar style thing. And we're like, yeah, that's great. Let's build that for you. And then we just gave it to all of our customers, just totally free, because you get everything when you're a customer, including free training as well. So all the support, all the training you could possibly eat, it's like all included, one price.
All right, I found your pre-configured packs link on your website and put that in the answer window.
Great, look at you. You're the best, man. I'm so honored that you would spend quality time with me today, man. Thank you so much.
All right, PolicyPack, and they say Unidesk app layering. It's now Citrix app layering. So
Yes.
PolicyPack and Citrix app layering, does it work?
Tested, works. Yep, our only recommendation is that you put our client-side extension in the main universe, and then you can, have your applications be the layers. Like, because we kind of run as like a system-y kind of thing, you want our moving part, the client-side extension, to be pre-baked into your application. Other than that,
Okay,
we're good to go.
so into the application layer or
No,
into the operating system layer or platform layer?
We've tested both and they work both. They
Okay.
both work, but we suggest that you put the client-side extension into the operating system layer.
Operating system layer, okay. All right, is there PolicyPack for printer mapping, per user printer mapping, etc.?
Yes and no. So the way that you would do that is we have a little sidecar utility, because remember, printers is a little bit different than other things. So we have this little sidecar utility that's hanging out on the client that's called, and you could just make shortcuts to this if you want to. Whoops, that's the wrong thing, tools. So it's called the PolicyPack printers little sidecar app. So the little printer sidecar app will let you change things like your default, remove, add a printer, and so on. This is a little application that you could put on the desktop, put in the start menu, whatever. You elevate this application. We have pre-configured rules to elevate this, and bang, you're off to the races. You could do things like printers, network cards, and remove software with these three little sidecar apps.
Okay.
Any others down the lane?
No, I was trying to find if there was anything on that PolicyPack printers on your website.
Yeah, it's called, look for Least Privilege Manager Tools. Let's try that. Least Privilege Manager Tools or something like that. I can't quite remember what it is.
And I can package these up and put these in our follow-up email that'll go out tomorrow too.
Okay, great.
There's a getting the helper tools as desktop shortcuts.
I think it's like setting them up. It's something like that. We'll track it down for everybody.
Okay, all right.
All right, I think are we ready to wrap up then?
I think so.
Oh, okay, hold on. Someone else been looking at the pricing, and say we have 500 users, 500 desktops, which is 250 thin clients, 250 windows, and 20 Citrix servers. What would licensing look like?
Okay, let me, can you repeat it? So I'm going to write it down, and that way I can answer the question. Yep.
All right, so they have 500 users and
Yep.
500 devices.
Okay.
20 Citrix servers.
Okay.
What's licensing look like?
Okay, so the way that it works is that it's desktops plus laptops for the systems. Then in Citrix land, you got to flip it over and take the 20 computers. And I'm guessing that you probably paid Citrix 500 licenses for that. So then it's plus 500. So it's the desktops plus the laptops, and then the concurrent number of maximum users you can serve in Citrix land.
Okay.
Because the idea is that if Citrix didn't exist, chances are you'd be giving those guys another laptop, right? That's the idea. They'd get a different laptop to do specialty things. So basically, that's how it works. Computer side is what's counted first, and then in Citrix side, it's users what's counted.
Okay. Hey, we got your favorite question.
Which is what?
Does PolicyPak play well with FS Logics?
Do we play well with FS Logics? Those guys are like my best friends. I'm like happy, and I'm happy for them and sad for me. So if you click, I can show you where this is on the website. If you go to integration and on the right-hand side, vendor integration, there's PolicyPak and FS Logics. We've got like 10 videos there that go into excruciating detail. How PolicyPak plus FS Logics is a great better together story. Yeah, you bet it does. It works great.
Got it.
When they hide applications, that's great for us, because then you can say, oh, this guy, he only gets these browsers, and you can make that browser the default. And then when he goes to this website, route him to the right website. And for these applications, you can do elevation. It's like a perfect better together story.
All right, I found your purchasing your license FAQ, so I'll put that in the answer window also for the one asking about pricing.
Great.
And let's see, I believe you have answered all the questions that have been asked.
Yes, we are victorious. We have accomplished our goal.
All right.
And I hope that people got something out of it, found something that they would want to try, and that's the whole point. You know, that's why we call this PolicyPak. You got to try this. So
That's right.
hopefully that gives you the opportunity to try it out. So, and Webster, you're the man. I'm so glad you get to be my compatriot in this time. It's so much fun for me. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Oh, I just found your Citrix licensing scenarios. I'll put that in the answer window also for David, who asked about the Citrix
Great.
licensing.
Cool.
All right. Because I believe all that goes out in the email. Oh, okay. Is there a plan to support the Linux VDI using PolicyPak?
I don't know. I don't think so. There may not be a plan for it, but maybe there's a way to make your own pack for it. I think what you might be saying is, hey, are there configurable options such that when users are doing the Linuxy thing to keep them inside there and not do naughty things? If there are settings available in the operating system, chances are we can get to those settings. If there's nothing there, then we might not be able to get blood from a stone.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. More?
More. Can you show the installation?
Yeah, I can show the installation, but then she's got to pass it back over to me.
Okay.
All right. 1 second.
The chances of me getting this perfectly right with the handoff again is so low, but let's find out. Okay, there we go. This says show my screen. I don't want to show my whole screen. I want to show that thing. All right, you tell me when I'm back on the air.
Yeah, you're back on the air.
Okay, so there's 2 things you need to do. So on Mr. Admin Machine, okay, the guy or gal that does group policy, this is the download you get. It's an ISO file. You click in the admin console MSI and you install the admin console. That is it. That gets you the nodes in the GPMC and all the little helper tools I showed you. That's the first part. The second thing is on the client machines, okay, on every endpoint or in your image or on your Citrix box, you double click on the client side extension, you install the client side extension, and that is it. There is nothing else to install. You are done.
So we can put that in the master image.
You can put in the master image. Just know we do update from time to time for bug fixes and features and other things. So you have to have a good process to stay up to date. Adobe stays up to date. We stay up to date. Chrome stays up to date. We stay up to date. So if you've got a good up-to-date process, that's great. We don't want you to be like a couple clicks behind. We want you to try to stay with us. The last thing that you need to do is there's a group policy object that contains the licenses, which is right up here. And it's very simple. You just right click consume licenses and bickety bam. The licenses per component show up here in the GPMC report. I just want to show you that they're here. And there we go. If we go take a look, they're all hanging out there. Those are the licenses. And that's all there is to it.
Okay, so 3 things. There's the admin console, there's the client-side extension,
Yep.
and then there's the license GPO.
Correct. And if you want to put packs in a central store, that's an optional step, but not required.
All right, then he's also asking for pricing. So I put the FAQ for licensing and pricing.
Yep. And Laura can get you down to the dollar. So if you email Laura at PolicyPack.com and tell her your story, you can get pricing down to the dollar.
Okay.
But we don't take whale's teeth or wampum. I'm sorry. We only take US dollars, okay?
Oh man, I was wanting to pay in Bitcoin.
Okay, sorry. We'll take your Dogecoin, but we won't take your Bitcoin, okay?
As if we had any Brits on here, they'd be asking if you take beer.
Yeah, but only cold. How would you get it here?
I answered the guy's pricing question by putting Laura's email and phone number in the answer window.
That's very generous. Thank you.
All right.
All righty.
Back to you now, Stephanie.
Here we are. Okay, so thank you so much. Those of you who are going to be at Synergy, I put some links in the chat window for you. We have our CUGC pregame reception on Monday night, and we also have a Women in Tech, CUGC Women in Tech workshop and cocktail reception on Tuesday. So if you're at Synergy, I'd love to have you attend both of those events. There's links in the chat for you to register for both of those. And also come by our CUGC booth and get your swag, your t-shirt, stickers. And then finally, just follow us on Twitter to find out who the lucky winner of the Amazon gift card will be. The winner will be chosen at random after the webinar, so stay tuned to Twitter. We'll also post it on the CUGC forum thread for this event, so I will have that information in the follow-up email. That forum thread is also the place for you to go to find out all the links that Jeremy and Webster put out there today. I'm going to put those in that forum thread. You can ask more questions out there, and anything that you ask, I'll make sure Jeremy sees so we can get you some answers. And with that, I will let you all return to your day. Thank you so much, Webster, for being on with us today and keeping track of all those questions.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Jeremy, for presenting today. It was great to have you back.
Yep, it's super fun. Thank you very much for spending your quality in the middle of your day with us today. Thank you very much.
All right. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. See you at mycugc.org again soon.
Bye.
All right.